What's up YouTube? I'm Valentin the Mad, and this is a Gore review of Soldier of Fortune 2. Over the years, and especially now when I'm doing the Gore reviews, people ask me a recommendation of a game with great gore. Unfortunately, and I really mean it, unfortunately, my answer hasn't changed in over a decade. Soldier of Fortune 2 remains the game I keep recommending. What makes it so exceptional? Let's find out. I'll be reviewing every aspect of the game's gore effects, and the score will be set based on 4 categories: body damage, environment, animations and sounds, the feel. Heads can be destroyed, limbs can be dismembered, and the torsos have a few variations of destruction as well. And all of those have been taken to an entirely different level. Heads have dynamic destruction, with a huge amount of chunks you can blow off. It basically works like this. Shoot one bullet at the head, you will just see a wound. But every shot after that will remove a chunk of the head. Shoot further or other areas, and you will remove more chunks of the head. You can actually play brain surgeon in the game with your knife. The tumor has been removed, and the patient should wake up as soon as the anesthetics wear off. At least I think he should. Anyways, in pretty much every other game I played that has great head gore effects, such as Brothers in Arms Hell's Highway or Left 4 Dead 2, we're talking about just several variations, and each variation looks very specific. Needless to say that it's never dynamic and nothing happens on further shots of the head. A shotgun shot from close range would take the entire head right off, with great splatter on the body. On shots where individual chunks of the head are removed, the splatter is not that great. There's very little blood on the body, despite the blood pouring down effect. As for other dismemberment, every limb has 3 points of amputation, and the body has 4 variations of destruction as well. Limbs amputation looks cool, and it looks really gory with the bones sticking out. I do think there should have been more splatter on the body, similar to the effect that destroying a head has. There is one thing about dismemberment that I don't remember seeing anywhere else, and it really deserves a lot of praise. In pretty much every gory game, you have a clear division between weapons that cause dismemberment and weapons that don't. It doesn't work this way in Soldier of Fortune 2. Every weapon can cause dismemberment. Even the weakest pistol in the game. If you shoot a specific area enough times, it will cause dismemberment. Torso destruction and total obliteration don't look that great. I think it's awesome that you can reveal the inner organs if the body takes enough damage, and giving 4 dynamic variations is really cool. But there are a few drawbacks for this. For some reason, the inner organs look really bad, when everything else in the game looks actually pretty decent even for today. Also, obliterating a body pretty much makes it disappear. There's hardly any mess left. It's weird for me to say that if you want a good experience in one of the goriest games ever made, you should avoid obliterating the body. But yeah, here I am saying this. When it comes to non-dismemberment damage, it's done exceptionally well. The thing is, all you have is wound decals, just like many other games have. But a few things set Soldier of Fortune 2 apart. First, they look brutal. You have the wound, blood around it, and some splatter. The color of the wound is also really good. Some games have it done too dark or too bright, and it just doesn't fit in. In Soldier of Fortune 2, the color looks absolutely right and fits in really well. That alone is very important. The shotgun also deserves special attention. If you don't dismember a limb, there are different decals for shots from close range and from longer range. Both of those look awesome. Knives cause brutal looking cuts on the body and can amputate limbs. Also, you can throw a knife which will stick out of the body with a gory cut wound. Another awesome thing: what happens when a grenade explodes near a window and glass is flying on some grunt who is around? You can see friggin' bloody glass shards stuck in his body. I haven't seen something like this anywhere else. Soldier of Fortune 2 does have some incredibly weird flaws. Why incredibly weird? Because when you have such crazy attention to details in most aspects, it's weird to throw a grenade and see absolutely no response. Seriously, I see so many games that fail almost everything else, but do great grenade kills. Seeing the exact opposite in a goriest masterpiece is very weird. Throwing grenades at dead bodies will obliterate them. Go figure. Kills by incendiary grenades aren't great either. The body just gets a bit darker color to it, and that's all. A crispy burned body, like in Postal 2 or Rising Storm, would be so much better. The animations aren't great either. Enemies fly across the room as though that was a high explosive grenade. Look it up on YouTube. That is not how incendiary grenades work at all. Blood will stain the environment, a blood pool will be formed under dead bodies, and chunks of brain will also be lying around. The blood after amputations looks decent. There's very little variety to the stains, but they stain the environment in a pretty good way. Also, here is something Soldier of Fortune 2 did well that many games today absolutely fail. As you can see, blood squirts on the environment and it actually leaves a stain. It's really that simple. But I keep seeing developers fail to do this over and over again. Also, after destroying a head, you will see pieces of brain lying around with blood stains around them. The blood stains after non-dismemberment gunfire are disappointing. You get one blood stain behind the shot person, but that's it. Doesn't matter how many bullets you put in them, only one blood stain. Also, if you blast a character with a shotgun from close range without dismembering anything, it will cause no blood on the environment other than the blood pool. It's most likely a bug, but my game is patched to the latest version, and I can't believe no one noticed it. As I mentioned previously, obliterating a body is disappointing, since it just pretty much disappears. There's some blood sprayed around the room, but that's all really. Blood and bodies disappear after a short while. It won't happen right after you blow someone's brains out, but it's quick enough to be noticed. You could be in a firefight running around, only to see that the coroner has packed up some of the bodies and the limbs right behind your back. I understand that back then the game was probably very heavy for the systems, but people are still playing it. And systems now can handle remembering every blood drop, body, and body part that was torn even from the beginning of the game. Now obviously, I can't change anything for something that has been out for 13 years. But this is a call to developers who might be watching this. If your game is good, people will be playing it many years after release. Start including graphical options for bodies, blood, debris, and other mess to stay. Having a great aftermath feeling is just as important as seeing that stuff happen in progress. If you have to do compromises for good performance on release, I have absolutely no complaints for that at all. But leave an option for the years after release, or for anyone who is willing to sacrifice detail for great aftermath feeling. The game has decent hit reactions, death animations, and what looks like a really early attempt to blend in animation with ragdolls. As for the hit reactions, There is actually a state of wounded behavior in the game. Shoot a character without killing them, and you will see them limping from place to place. Games keep losing points in my Gore Reviews for not having something like this. There are some serious drawbacks to this though. The thing is that the wounded limping applies only to walking forward. Any other action, such as shooting positions, movement backwards, or movement while crouching, does not seem to be affected by wounds. There is also no incapacitated state, in which the character is just lying in pain on the floor, not capable of fighting, but not dead either. So really, we only have seeds for a potentially awesome feature that should have been taken all the way through. Unfortunately, most games don't even have that. As for death animations, they vary for different weapons and look really cool. Most of them are fairly short, but there are some really cool longer animations. I think all of the animations should have been longer, except for the head-destroying ones, for obvious reasons. I noticed that death animations can only be interrupted by collision with walls, objects, or other characters. Which means that if someone is dying, you can blow their head in the process. The animation and the sounds will keep playing. I actually thought it's hilarious, but some may not agree. As for the sounds, you have screams of pain on bullet impacts, screams when a character is dying, and sounds of blood spilled. Characters will also comment on what's going on in combat. The death screams of characters are awesome. The bad guys aren't exactly going away peacefully, and you can hear it. Characters will comment on what's going on in their native language. I think it's great that they are speaking their native language and not English with an accent. They don't speak very often though, and the comments are pretty basic. But I guess that's just the age of the game showing. Back then, you couldn't have a few gigabytes of sound alone. Wounded characters are disappointing in the sound department. There is a short scream upon impact, but that's it. They won't comment on being hit, and when they do speak, you hear no difference in their voice. So as I mentioned in the beginning, Soldier of Fortune 2 is the game I keep recommending when people ask for a Gore game for one simple reason. You actually see exceptional response for every shot you take, and it's just something I can't say about other games. This game has a fair share of flaws to it too, but looking at the big picture, the strong sides outweigh the flaws by far, at least for me. The exceptionally well done body damage, along with a decent job in other aspects, make Soldier of Fortune 2 to be my favorite Gore game. The score for body damage is 24 out of 30. The score for environment is 12 out of 30. The score for animations and sounds is 17 out of 30. I give the feel a score of 9 out of 10. So this gives Soldier of Fortune 2 a total score of 62 out of 100. Now I can already imagine the comments. Hold on, you have been calling this your favorite Gore game of all time, and the score is that low? What the fuck? The score is pretty much as neutral as it gets. Games get the score based on features they have, with the most subjective category here being the feel. So while seeing great response on the body for gunfire is my thing, a lot of the aspects could and should have been done better. And I can't give the game high scores in categories where it just doesn't deserve them. Keep in mind that the game is 13 years old, so that should be taken into account too. Basically, I can sum up this entire review by saying I wish Raven would take a break from doing whatever they do for Call of Duty series and do Soldier of Fortune 3. If what I did in 2002 still stands well today, just imagine what Raven could do with one of the newer engines and the new technologies we have today. my mind would be blown, and so are the minds of many virtual enemies. Hope you enjoyed watching this review. Let me know how you feel in the comment section, and if you liked the video, subscribe and share it with your friends. You can find the link to all of my Gore reviews in the video description. Until next time.